Welcome to Collide, where we collide all things most powerful and most wonderful. Today the topics are about Wonder Man, about Spider-Man, about Blade, and also DC rumors. What's going to go down is that, we have also my producer here with us, Pat. Pat, you in the building? We got OG. OG, you in the building? We got my man Sky. Sky, you in the building? Definitely, definitely. So the first topic, as you can see on the YouTube feed, you can also see the topics that we have, that we're gonna address on and talk about today. Um, the runtime, guys, I'll definitely share that with you guys. Uh, I don't like the honestly, I don't like the runtime. Runtime doesn't speak to the origin of him. I don't. That's the most thing I don't like about it is that the origin of him we we should we should have at least an hour, but unfortunately we only have 32 minutes each. And then the fifth episode has 23, so it's shorter. So that's including the intro and the ending as well. So I don't know how they're gonna get us a story less than 20 minutes. Is that possible, Sky, to have an intro coming in of Wonder Man less than 20 minutes? Is is that what it is? Unit, you think that's enough? Unit, unit, you think that's enough time? You think that's enough time for them to get that much? What do you think, Pat? 20 minutes is enough to get an intro to see is this a test subject to see if people would like Wonder Man? Pat, you here? Well, according to Yahoo, according to Yahoo, it says blinded as a love filmmaker acting as a Hollywood. So that's part of his alter ego, right? To be a film actor in the Hollywood. I understand. I understand. Of course, we're gonna definitely, uh, definitely. uh, do a little bit more intro to this, I have like two videos up of 10-minute segment to 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 understand what type of um, artistry that Marvel is going to present us with this miniseries. So I found one on Loopers. They have a little, little something something, and then I have another one from my favorite YouTuber, Comic Book Explain, for like 7:41 minutes. It gives you an actual comic book esque um, thing, so you can be able to see it from that perspective. So I'm gonna definitely give you that real quick. Do you want the comic book explained first or the looper? You want? Let's watch that first. Then, since all right, so let's watch this one first with the audience. Um,
Is Rob, and we are back again with another installment of our Beyond Omega Level series where we cover the origins and powers of the strongest characters in comics. And for whatever reason that I will never fully understand, you guys have been asking me to make a video on Simon Williams, Wonder Man. I mean, he's powerful, but I never really expected someone to be like, hey Rob, you know who would make a great Beyond Omega Level video? Wonder Man. Like I never really saw that coming. So Wonder Man was created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Don Heck, and first appeared in the Avengers #9 in 1964. Now, Simon Williams is the son of a wealthy arms manufacturer and inherits his father's company. However, his company begins to see a downturn in business because of the success of Stark Industries. And so Simon begins embezzling money from his business, but gets caught, convicted, and then thrown in jail. Now he's bailed out of jail by Amora the Enchantress, and then begins working for Baron Heinrich Zemo, who wants to use Simon's anger at Tony Stark to convince him to undergo a transformation into a supervillain that will battle the Avengers. Now Simon agrees, and Zemo uses ionic energy to imbue him with superpowers and gives him the nickname Wonder Man. Now Wonder Man is sent to infiltrate the Avengers with instructions to betray them during a battle with Zemo's Masters of Evil, which included the Enchantress and Scourge the Executioner. But in order to make sure Wonder Man goes along with the plan, Zemo tells him that the ionic energy he was exposed to will kill him if he does not regularly take a drug that only Zemo has access to. Now when push comes to shove, however, Wonder Man sides with the Avengers against Zemo and is apparently killed in the same issue he debuted in because he doesn't get the antidote from Zemo. But following his apparent death, Hank Pym records his brainwaves just in case he can be brought back to life, and Simon's brother Eric gets mad at the Avengers and becomes a supervillain known as Grim Reaper, who you've probably heard of. Grim Reaper was okay. He was actually more than okay. He was pretty cool, but he was cool for the time. But as it turns out, Wonder Man was not actually dead. He was just in a coma and was kept in a state of suspended animation, during which time Ultron stole Simon's brainwaves that had been recorded by Hank Pym in case he could be revived, and then uses them to create Vision. But Wonder Man would also be revived on a few different occasions, albeit temporarily. First, he was revived by Kang the Conqueror in Avengers #131 to battle the Avengers as part of Kang's Legion of the Unliving, which was a group of dead characters that he pulled from the timeline from a point before their deaths. But eventually, the Legion break free of Kang's control and are sent back to their appropriate time streams. Next, Wonder Man would be revived by his brother the Grim Reaper and a really obscure villain named the Black Talon, and would once again fight the Avengers. And so after going back into suspended animation, Wonder Man is finally revived permanently by the Living Laser, who hypnotizes him into attacking the Avengers yet again. But finally in control of his own thoughts, Wonder Man fights and defeats his brother, and then eventually becomes a full-time member member of the Avengers before moving to Hollywood to pursue an acting career where he helps found the West Coast Avengers. Now, as for Wonder Man's powers, they stem from the ionic energy he was exposed to by Baron Zemo, which gave him superhuman physical attributes, including strength, durability, speed, and reflexes. Wonder Man's strength is probably the attribute he's best known for, and in his initial appearance, his strength level is said to be comparable to Thor's. In fact, that was later confirmed by Hercules after Wonder Man punches him through a wall. In fact, Wonder Man was able to knock Thor off his feet with one of his punches and did the same thing to Hank Pym when he was Giant Man. Now, Wonder Man was also able to defeat some ridiculously strong characters like Carol Danvers, Abomination, Red Hulk, The Thing, and Namor. He also demonstrates an ability to hold up 50,000 tons and has also thrown a Kree spacecraft and battled the Hulk to a stalemate. So even though he isn't a character that gets a lot of attention, he's absolutely one of the strongest characters in Marvel Comics. And in fact, Captain America stated that Wonder Man's strength was at the same level as that of the Sentry. Now, if you're
Wait, what?
familiar with the Sentry at all, you know just how big of a statement that is. And if you aren't familiar with the Sentry, we just did a Beyond Omega level video on him, so you can basically go check that out. Now, in addition to his immense strength,
He's stronger than Sentry? Hold up. Rewind that back. He's stronger than Sentry? Did y'all hear that? He's stronger than Sentry. Hold up.
A lot of attention. He's absolutely one of the strongest characters in Marvel Comics. And in fact, Captain America stated that Wonder Man's strength was at the same level as that of the Sentry. Now, if you're familiar with the Sentry at all, you know just how big of a statement that is. And if you aren't familiar with the Sentry, we just did a Beyond Omega level video on him, so you can basically go check that out. Now, in addition to his immense strength, Wonder Man also has insane durability. He survived a bomb that blew up after he swallowed it. Yes,
wow.
You heard that correctly. He swallowed a bomb and then it exploded. He was also punched into the core of a planet by Gladiator, and although it did knock him out, he recovered after a short time. He's also survived the explosion of missiles, punches from Savage Hulk, energy blasts from the Silver Surfer, and a punch from the Sentry. Now, originally, Wonder Man could fly, but only with the assistance of an ionic jetpack provided to him by Zemo. But eventually he learned to better control his ionic abilities and was able to channel them to allow himself to fly, and he's able to fly at extremely fast speeds, and is confirmed to be able to travel at 400 miles per hour. Now, Wonder Man is also effectively immortal and is able to come back to life each time he dies, which has been around 6 times since he was introduced, and every time he does so, he is seemingly more powerful than he was prior to his death. Now, although Zemo's experiment on Wonder Man was merely supposed to make him equal to any Avenger in terms of strength, what it actually did was turn him into a being of pure ionic energy. Because of this, not only is he able to fly, he also does not need food, water, or air to survive. Another aspect of Wonder Man's energy powers is that he can manipulate his ionic energy into powerful beams from his hands or eyes, and can also change the physical size and shape of his body. As time goes on, Wonder Man learns to use his powers in new ways, including the ability to lend energy to others and reabsorb it back into himself, and also the ability to teleport. Now, Wonder Man's also a skilled hand-to-hand combatant, having trained with Captain America. However, after a falling out with the Avengers over the Superhuman Registration Act, Simon vowed to stop solving his problems through fighting and only rejoined the Avengers on the condition that he would help them through his public relations skills and not his prowess in battle. Even so, when the Avengers were faced with battling a Celestial, Wonder Man allows Rogue to absorb his powers to battle it, but she ends up absorbing his consciousness as well, and it remains trapped in Rogue's mind for a while, which, I mean, you thought he would have seen that coming, right? Like, never touch Rogue. But he was only freed when Rogue kissed Deadpool and absorbed his healing factor, which allowed Wonder Man's body to be restored. But even after his return, Wonder Man remains committed to pacifism. So despite being one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe, it's not likely we're going to see him put his powers on display anytime soon, unless the Marvel Cinematic Universe decides to put him in a movie. But that's one of the things that we're trying to do with this series, right? Bring attention to characters that often just don't get the attention that they're due based on how powerful that they are. I never would have known how powerful Wonder Man was. I mean, look, here's the thing, guys. I knew of Wonder Man, but Wonder Man's one of those characters where, like, as far as I was concerned, he exists and he did some things and they don't really talk about him anymore, and now we are here. And like, that's it, right? I mean, it's just, he's a guy who did stuff. Like, I never cared about Wonder Man. Like, he was never really relevant to me, man. But after this, dude, this guy is legit. Dude, I love Wonder Man. Like, this is ridiculous. I need to read more stories about Wonder Man. Thank you guys for telling me me to do this video about Simon Williams, I was a little unsure. Why would Wonder Man be beyond Omega level, right? Like, this guy sucks. Like, he's got like sunglasses, and he has really, really good people skills. Right? Beyond Omega level, the ability to hang out with people and start a conversation. Like, it just, that seemed like all it really was. But like, man, this guy is amazing. So, if you enjoyed this video, make
So there you have it. There you have it. That comic book explained kept it short, sweet, and simple. Uh, 7 and 33 minutes, like close to 8 minutes. So that was very awesome. Understanding of who Wonder Man is. He's beyond Omega level. We'll definitely see the transitions that he's gonna have. We're definitely gonna see a lot of storytelling if the audience um, likes the first few intro of his life, the first intro of how angry can he get, and because I would love to see how angry he can get before he becomes passive, because I would love to see that first. Because like I do understand there's a time that you might be molded into like I'm tired of just doing that. I need a change, and then that's when you become passive because you feel as though that society needs a second chance. You know, so that's one of them, and one of them that I found, and then another one that I found was this Loopers one. I'm gonna definitely send that your way. This one is about 11 minutes long, so it's very short, you know. Exactly. That's why I'm showing you guys the Loopers one. The Loopers one shows the plot twists that they know of, the little bit of information that they know from different sources and stuff like that. So that's why I'm also sending this you guys your way. Um, it says here the only recap you need before Wonder Man. So that's another you know idea. Maybe it could be true, maybe it could not. We'll find out on the 27th. It comes out the 27th. So that's next week on Wednesday, I believe. No, the 23rd. It has, yeah, I think it's the 21st, 26th. So it's going to be on the 26th. So that's a Monday. Yeah, that's a Monday. So if it's 32 minutes, that's about uh 2 days worth to 2 to 3 days worth. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, 20 minutes, 20 minutes to tell a story, to tell a story about who he is, you know, to tell a story about who he is. That's what I think, you know. That this one is another video that we're gonna have the audience watch. Is about 11 minutes long. So guys, enjoy.
Marvel's new series Wonder Man faces down superhero fatigue head-on, but its self-aware approach nods to some deep comics history too. Wonder Man stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Simon Williams, a struggling actor hoping to make his name by starring in a remake of a 1980s superhero film of the same name. He's also hiding some superpowers, which are apparently disqualifying for the role.
I'm gonna need you to sign this to confirm you don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Already then, there's a little bit to wrap your head around here. Decades before Iron Man hit the scene in the MCU timeline, film studios were making superhero movies in that reality. They did at least have the Captain America template to work off of.
A superhero remake. Not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
So, the big thing we can all expect from this series, which is being called a mini-series, though there's been some discussion of the possibility of a second season, is a lot of Hollywood insider joking around about the state of superhero films in 2026.
Everyone is tired of superheroes.
It's honestly pretty bold for this to come from Marvel itself, but the jury's out on how successful it'll be. The last time Marvel did some meta-comedy about its creative process, it was pretty divisive, to say the least.
I will answer your questions, but you must first transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
And surely there'll at least be some explanation of how the fictional Wonder Man came to exist in the MCU, a world with honest-to-goodness superheroes. Speaking of divisiveness, the character tying the series into the MCU at large, at least to start, is Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery. Wonder Man marks the fourth Marvel project in which Slattery has appeared. He debuted in Iron Man 3, where it initially seemed as though Kingsley was playing longtime Tony Stark nemesis, the Mandarin. But to sidestep that the character had always been a racial stereotype, his version of the Mandarin turns out to just be a figurehead portrayed by Slattery, an actor who essentially just served as a mouthpiece for advanced idea mechanics and his real leader, Aldrich Killian. Slattery is ultimately arrested for his part in AIM's plans, but he revels in the publicity. Slattery next appears in the one-shot short film All Hail the King, which was included on the Thor The Dark World Blu-ray. It catches up with Slattery in Seagate Penitentiary, where the actor is living a celebrity life after his infamous crimes. By the end, the man posing as a
What happened?
documentary filmmaker profiling him reveals himself to be a member of the terrorist group the Ten Rings, working for the real Mandarin, and abducts him from the prison. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings finally offers up Slattery's fate. The real Mandarin and head of the Ten Rings is revealed to be Xu Wenwu, Shang-Chi's father. After being taken from Seagate, Slattery is forced to serve as Zhu's court jester, reciting Shakespeare monologues for his entertainment. Shang-Chi eventually rescues Trevor from his captivity. That has all led Trevor to where he is in Wonder Man, hoping to revive his acting career with a role in the Wonder Man remake after his diversion into international supercrime.
Where have I seen him before?
Pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
Head on. The trailers for Wonder Man give a pretty good idea of the Hollywood satire and buddy comedy that the series is sure to be. But an even better indicator of the show's satirical tone are the promotional videos Marvel has been putting out for it. Instead of genuine behind-the-scenes featurettes or serious interviews with the actors or creator Destin Daniel Cretton, they're parodies of videos promoting big projects you're sure to have seen online. The one titled Actors Unscripted is a clear parody of Variety's Actors on Actors series, for example, where Slattery and Williams sit down for a conversation with one another. At least at first, that's what it is. It then becomes a Hot Ones parody, then a parody of
What happened? Hmm. 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 But you have to account to the intro and the outro. So that's 5 minutes, that's 10 minutes already done. You know what I mean? So that yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Nah, you don't actually. Actually, yeah, you don't. So yeah, so definitely, we'll definitely. That's a good point right there. You know, I'll play this. I'll continue playing this feed for the audience.
BuzzFeed Celebs Play with Puppies, it goes on to send up Vanity Fair's lie detector test interviews, following that up with a satire of
What happened? What happened, OG? What do you mean? It's too early? What you mean? They were supposed to release this last year. Hmm. Yeah, last year, last year, last year they lost the ball with that with whatchamacallit, Peacemaker, second season. The only messed up one was Ironheart. I don't think so because before Marvel didn't have any. The only thing they had back then was Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, uh, Shield, Jason. Yeah, but that was only a one or two episodes. That wasn't that long, you know. And then we had Hellstrom. That was it. We didn't have consistent shows up until 2023. We had consistent shows up until 2023. I honestly felt that they needed to have more shows because there's a lot of stories that needs to be told within the Marvel universe. That's why Shang-Chi came out. That's why Daredevil, um, Punisher, Jessica Jones came out. Because there were episodes that need to be told. Iron Fist. I didn't I didn't know about Iron Fist when they brung out Iron Fist. I did a lot of crucial study on Iron Fist. So for you to say that they need to calm down on films and shows, I don't think they should. Even though there's a couple of shows that may not hit you personally, or it may not hit me personally, or it may not hit Scott personally. There's some shows that Scott did not watch on in Marvel, but I'm sure that out of the shows that was presented to him, he watched a few of them, and I'm sure all audience have shows that they resonate with. Hope I'm saying the right word or saying the word correctly, because I want to say it accurate. But other than that, that's what Marvel is doing. I I commend them for bringing more shows, but I understand you want if they're gonna bring more shows. I get it, OG. If they want to bring out shows, make them at least quality enough. Make them at least quality enough. From understanding what Wanda Man is, what what you felt the writer should have had. You think the writer should have had 40 minutes on the docket instead of 30 minutes on the docket? Huh, OG? You think you think that they're following some of the comics. He's a Hollywood star. He's They're following some parts of the comic book. Some part of the comic book saying that he's an old mega level type of person. So he's gonna have flaws within him. He can beat the Sentry, bro. And he starts the West Coast Avengers. Yeah, yeah, I get it. But just a little, snippet of who Wanda Man is. Um, we Wanda Man might be a Wanda Man might repeat that, Scott. Okay. Wanda Man might be a hit or a miss. We don't know, but we will judge it accordingly. We would say what's it about accordingly and see what narrative fits for it. Um, Pat, you in the building? Yeah, yeah. You. I don't know if you were here the previous 20 minutes ago. Did you hear that Wanda Man is an Omega level? He can beat the Sentry. He's an Omega level power. He can beat Sentry's ass. Yeah, he's that powerful. He's that powerful. Yeah, Sentry from Thunderbolts. Yeah, the yellow guy that brings you into the dark. How you feel about that, Pat? That he's that strong. Do you also think that 32 minutes is too short to tell this first story about him, the intro level? Those are two questions. Uh, repeat that again. I couldn't hear you. Hopefully, we can see some type of flaw within his strength. Hopefully, we can. Yeah, that's what I would. Okay, so we'll definitely see. I'm gonna play this video for 3 more minutes, and after that we're gonna move on. I don't want to show too much now.
Wired's videos about celebrities learning slang terms. Finally, Williams gives up and walks out.
Let me help. That's good.
Just roll with it, Simon.
No, that's good.
In another video, Slattery appears on a parody podcast hosted by Turner Movie Classics host Ben Mankiewicz. It's called Bad Actors and features interviews with actors who are also felons. When Mankiewicz keeps asking about the Mandarin, Slattery freaks out.
Addressing the Mandarin, I think, is essential to understanding who you are as an actor.
This is an ambush. I don't like this. It's an ambush.
One more video, an inside look at Wonder Man, serves as a parody of Marvel's own behind-the-scenes featurettes. Kingsley and Abdul Mateen stay in character as Slattery and Williams throughout, and they really get to play with the details of their odd working relationship.
Wasn't Trevor the Mandarin?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that.
So if you find any of these particularly funny, you're likely to get a kick out of the series. It's clearly for fans who are plugged into the world of how movies are hyped here in the 2020s. Trevor Slattery is an MCU original creation, but Simon Williams has been part of Marvel Comics since the Silver Age, first appearing in Avengers issue 9 back in 1964. He wasn't initially an actor though. In his first appearances, Williams is the heir to a munitions company, a competitor of Tony Stark's. After getting caught in an embezzlement scheme, Williams makes a deal with Baron Zemo and the Masters of Evil to help them infiltrate the Avengers. They use ionic rays to turn him into Wonder Man, and the new superhero demonstrates his new powers to join the Avengers. Zemo and his cohort enact their plan to kill the Avengers, but Wonder Man has second thoughts about the idea. He turns against the Masters of Evil and halts their plan. In the process, he appears to die. Zemo attempted to maintain control over Wonder Man by requiring him to take a serum, without which he would be killed. Wonder Man remained on the shelf for years after that, partially because of legal action from DC Comics, who thought his name was way too close to Wonder Woman's. 1968's Avengers issue 58 reveals that Simon Williams didn't die completely. Upon his apparent death, Hank Pym preserved Simon's brain patterns, whatever those are, in a computer, and kept him alive, but catatonic in suspended animation. Eventually, Ultron steals those recorded brain patterns and uses them to create the android The Vision. For many years, Williams mostly lived on in the form of The Vision.
But what is grief, if not love? Persevering.
Simon's brother Eric Williams also repeatedly attempted to get revenge on the Avengers, whom he blamed for Simon's death, as a supervillain, the Grim Reaper. In the mid-70s, Wonder Man was briefly resurrected twice, once by Kang and again by Black Talon and the Grim Reaper, to fight the Avengers as a zombie. The first time, Wonder Man goes back to his semi-dead catatonic state, but the second time, he ends up fully revived at the hands of the Living Laser. It's after this revival that Simon takes up an interest in acting and lands some roles with the help of Hercules. He also starts working as a stuntman. After his revival, Wonder Man becomes a founding member of the West Coast Avengers. He got a solo one-shot story in 1986, which explores him becoming disillusioned with dwindling acting opportunities. He takes a job as a troubleshooter at a tech company. In 1991, Wonder Man got his own solo ongoing series, which ran for 29 issues. That series finds Simon back in the acting game and serving as a sort of local hero in Los Angeles. To be honest, things were far from eventful in Wonder Man's appearances outside of his own series. After the West Coast Avengers disband, Wonder Man helped start the spin-off team ForceWorks. He's killed in an explosion in the very first issue of the series. 4 years later, Scarlet Witch revives him using her reality-altering powers in an issue of Avengers. It should be pretty clear by now that Wonder Man has always been a C-tier Avenger, even when he's gotten his own solo books. That's made him one of those characters who tends to waver back and forth between being a hero and a villain. For example, during the Civil War storyline in the mid-2000s, he's essentially extorted into creating propaganda for the side-pushing superhero registration efforts. Simon becomes deeply disillusioned.
Yeah. we'll definitely see how they're gonna portray him. We're definitely gonna see how they're gonna utilize him. Um, we're gonna definitely also see the introduction of Wonder Man, how they're gonna go with it, because there's different iterations on him. Because he's been, it seems like watching loopers, it explains it a little bit more of there's different iterations of him, because a lot of different people that's part of the Avengers resurrect him, kept resurrecting him. What you were saying, Scott? Yeah, there actually is, because he kept getting resurrected. So it seems like there's a lot of resurrections that he was going through. First it was Ultron or Ultron, then it became Vision Quest. Hank Pym hold his mind, shit like that. So we're definitely gonna see how this story is gonna unfold. Then by us finding out how the story is gonna unfold, we're gonna see we're gonna try to trace it back to which comic book um, subscription, because there's a lot of numbers when it comes to Wonder Man. There's a lot, so we can definitely pinpoint which uh, which series of Wonder Man it is. Oh, gee, you guys something you want to add? Yes, that's great. That's great right there. To just watch the show. We're definitely gonna watch the show. I just wanted to give you today of his origin, since we're gonna watch it very shortly in a couple of days. We're gonna be watching it all at once. This show comes all at once. There's no once every week. There's none of that. It comes out right on the 26th, all episodes. That's why I said that it takes about 3 days to watch it, 3 to 4 days to watch it. We can review it, we can react to it on certain episodes that we liked or disliked overall. Then we go from there. The next topic that I would love to talk about is uh, Marvel Marvel with Sony and Marvel per se. There's a new rumor out that Spider Spider-Man characters Marvel gets to play with them now, because there's a Spider-Verse film except for that version, that one. But other than that, they would love to make another Spider-Man movie with another character, or probably choose a different because they already started that. They got Spider-Man Noir. So we're gonna figure out what characters that Marvel can grab to make new. That's not it. Give me 1 second. I will post it for you guys on Collide. There we go. So this is Marvel's new rumor. maybe the best news for Spider-Man fans have gotten in 10 years. I'm gonna definitely do this right here. Love this trick. This trick of mine is to start speaking for us. There's a new rumor. There's a new rumor from that come from Daniel RPK, who has said that Sony is now reporting more open to share their Spider-Man characters with Marvel Studios. That would be wonderful news for those who have wanted more crossovers between the special appearances from Tom Holland's Spider-Man in a big event. So why Sony is sharing more characters with Marvel Studio is such a huge deal. To understand why this is a big deal, you have to go back to when the original deal between Sony and Marvel was first made on February 9th, 2015. Sony Pictures Entertainment issued a press release that revealed Spider-Man would be appearing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would then lead to a solo Sony film featuring a wall crawler that would also involve a Marvel studio Kevin Feige. Those films would end up being Captain America: Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, respectively. It was a huge deal at the time, and both those films were major hits. Spider-Man made his debut as part of the Team Iron Man Civil War, and the Iron Man would subsequently appeared in Homecoming as a major mentor for Peter Parker. Since then, Spider-Man has appeared in the MCU two more times, with the happening in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And Nick Fury would also be a big part of Spider-Man Far From Home. So the deal has benefited both sides. What hasn't happened though is much crossover outside of Spider-Man, specifically. While Tom Holland Spider-Man is a major part of the MCU, other heroes and villains have pretty much been off the table for the MCU debut. This is because Sony have wanted to have their own Spider-Man focused universe and has tried to launch that several times with solo films. While while the Venom franchise took off, created a trilogy that other attempts haven't fared nearly as well, with Madam Web, Craven, and Mobius all failing to deliver hits at the box office. Well, Madam Web, whew, Madam Web, Madam Web, Madam Web was interesting. Craven the Hunter was very unorthodox of creative endeavors. Morbius was under was understanding. I could eat a popcorn with Morbius and Craven the Hunter. Madam Web, sheesh. I was like pulling teeth with Madam Web. If this room, what you saying, OG? Yeah, if this rumor ends up being correct, this could be where we start to see more crossovers, and at this point, it would once again benefit both to have more carryover between the franchises. When you're talking hero characters like Miles Morales, uh, Ghost Spider, Spider Woman, and Spider Woman and Spider Woman 2099 could all have amazing team ups in an MCU film, and the same goes for the villains. While villains like Mysterio, Shocker, Green Goblin, and Vulture have had their time to shine in recent film, there are still so many great Spider-Man villains who could move the needle in the MCU. It includes Doctor Octopus, the Jackal, Sandman, Electro, Rhino, Hobgoblin. Wait, Hobgoblin is completely different from Green Goblin? Interesting. We didn't have that yet, right? We didn't have a Hobgoblin, right? It was so the great we had two iterations of Green Goblin, right? Am I correct? Okay. Okay. So yeah. Let's see let's see a Hobgoblin now. Yeah, that's true. Let's see a Hobgoblin. Then we got Chemelon, Camelon. Then we have uh Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is Mr. Negative is the guy from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that creates these black holes. Is that Mr. Negative? Just want to clarify, Sky or OG. Mr. Negative is that the guy from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? That yeah, that's oh, Mr. Negative is completely different. Different. He uh with his first six. Oh, oh, Spider-Man plays game right. And Octopus again. With Jackal. I know. Give me Hobgoblin, Gemini, Mr. Negative. I'll be cool with that. You can give me Hobgoblin with Andrew Garfield with Mr. Negative. Andrew Garfield with Mr. Negative. For him to come back with Andrew Garfield. With Andrew Garfield. If you do a Hobgoblin with Hobgoblin, now the two films that Tony McGuire did and also Andrew Garfield did. So at least he has Goblin effect. You get what I'm saying, guys? At least he'll get his Hoblin or Goblin effect from the Tom Holland because he doesn't have anything like that yet. So I think that Tom Holland should have the Hoblin, the Hobgoblin instead of Andrew Garfield having a Hobgoblin because he had a Green Goblin already. So there's no need. fan to have that. Oh, that's fine. That's fine too. It depends where they're gonna take this because if this rumor is true, bring some of those classic Spider-Man Avengers to live, live, life on the screen. Hopefully, this turns out to be true because Sony Spider-Man universe and the MCU could both use a welcome boost. So, Andrew Garfield, uh, do you think Andrew Garfield, since this is true, can they offset Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield together, or and then do the Spider Woman verse with Tony Maguire if there needs to be because they have three different ones. Again, they're already uh con they're already incongruent in the MCU universe anyway before uh Secret Wars or Battle World, so to speak. So what do you guys think? I said that if this rumor is true that Sony Sony said, "Okay, I'm raising my hand, Marvel, Kevin Feige. I'm raising my hand. I need help. I'm now saying you could take some of the Spider-Man characters and make a film with us. Now, what we have now is that I'll tell you real quick. We have um we have the Jackal left. We have Hobgoblin left. We have Shem. I think it's Camelon or uh Shemalon, something like that. Mr. Negative and um and Hobgoblin. I think that with Hobgoblin, Tom Holland should get the Hobgoblin because we already seen two iterations of the Green Goblin from Tony Maguire and um uh what's his name? I just had it. Uh Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield, we had Green Goblin already. Tony Maguire, we had Green Goblin already. So we shouldn't have that. Tom Holland just got Mysterio. So that's a plus. That's a plus for a different take. So the only thing that's left is Hobgoblin, um, Shyamalan. I think I'm saying it right. Mr. Negative. Those are the villains that he has, and probably many more. So how you feel about Sony raise his hand and say I need help? How you feel about that, Pat? Yeah, that's why we have left Hobgoblin. We have Hobgoblin. We have Camelon, Mr. Negative. Those are the only ones that's left, and probably others that we don't know about. Uh, what happened, Scott? You got froze up. you got something in the background that's overseeding what you're trying to say to us. Okay, because I don't want to repeat. No, we already seen Mysterio. I don't want to repeat. There's the Jackal too, Pat. We already seen it. They already seen. We already seen those. The one that you're listing right now. We had. Oh yeah, yeah. That's another one. Yeah, that's another one. That's another one. So that's great. We at least we get to see that instead of Spider-Man and Amazing Friends, on Disney Kids playing jokes with us, man. Yeah, those are kitty ones. No, of course not. Of course not. I just hope that some of these characters that I listed, that this person has listed as well, um, brings out more challenges for Spider-Man. They could use they could use some of them from Andrew Garfield and also Tom Holland, so to offset it a little bit. That's gonna be still a great. It's still Spider-Man, whether we get Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland. Because, like, at the end of the day, Tom Holland, we should give him a little break because this one will be his fourth one in the MCU. And Andrew Garfield hasn't got a third one or a fourth one. So, you know, this is the opportunity, Marvel and DC and Sony. This is the greatest opportunity that you have. You have two actors that still want to play Spider-Man, and they are connected to the MCU. So it's bringing Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse in real live action. You know what I'm saying? So that's a plus where you can definitely bring that into the forefront of that, even though it's not exactly the same from the animated version, but at least that you guys can teleport back to back from between worlds for now. I just hope that we can definitely see more of Spider-Man. Let me see if any more under here. Nope. Okay. So yeah, I just hope there's more happening. Like they also said here, uh it's huge. Wait, let me see real quick. I just want to make sure I read everything. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's a like I said, MCU could both use a welcome boost. So that would be great for the Spider-Man universe, uh, for MCU and Sony. So the next conversation that I want to talk to you about is Blade. I have Blade for you guys. Give me 1 second. Which one you didn't watch it? It's 10:14. Which one? Three what? Oh, the trilogy. Oh, the trilogy is good. Go to sleep. It's time for bed. You guys go tomorrow. Both of you guys. Well, with Blade right now, it's a hit or miss. There's a big humor going out right now that Blade might be canceled. The solo film might be canceled. They might just keep it as um, Midnight Suns. He might just come into the Midnight Suns. There's a lot of interesting topics that certain people think that the Blade solo film is not going to be happening, but we're still going to have that in a Midnight Suns film or show or whatever the case of what they're going to do to present this. That's what's going on with Blade with what's going on with Blade right now. What they said, and I quote, he will not he will not be introduced in a solo movie. Snyder said on the hot mic. He'll be introduced in Midnight Suns.